Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports. Today I'm going to share with you something very unique to my channel that I've never shared before, and that is some bowling autographs. If you haven't already seen this, definitely check out my footage that when I attended the PBA Pete Weber Classic here in Missouri. I got these items signed. I rarely share in-person autographs on my channel, but this was such a unique event that I thought I'd definitely share them with you. Here are all the things that I wound up getting signed at the event. Alright, so I was there for 2 days, and this is actually the roster of everybody that was there. This was the lane pairings for everybody that was there for day 2. I did not grab one of these on day 1. I don't know why. I honestly didn't think to be honest with you. But this was very helpful to know who was where and what lane they were going to. You can see what lane they started on and then what lane they were going to. So that, that made it easy to kind of follow around the bowlers and watch them while they were working. I did not bother any of the bowlers while they were working. I only asked them for autographs before and after their bowling. That to me would have been rude. I look at it this way: these guys are there to do a job, not sign autographs. When they're working, I don't bother them. So I'm going to start, I guess, with probably the most biggest thing that I got, and we'll come back to it. And this is a very, very cool piece. There were, out of everybody on the cover here, these are again top players in the current PBA, or Professional Bowling Association, and out of everybody pictured here, 6 of the 7 people were in attendance. The only exception was Jason here. He was not in attendance. If any of you do watch professional bowling, you know that Jason Belmonte is from Australia. So Jason had a prior family commitment in Australia and decided not to bowl at this event. However, last year when they had this, which I was unaware of that it was even going on, Jason was indeed in attendance. So my hope is next year, if Jason makes the trip here, I might be able to get him to complete this. So, we're going to talk about all the guys that are in this program, individually. So I just wanted to show this off to you. But, this is very, very cool, especially to get EJ Tackett. EJ Tackett's, one of the top players, along with Kyle Troop. Everybody recognizes that guy. Some of these other guys you may not recognize. This is Tommy Jones, Hall of Famer. And, we'll talk about them, the rest of them throughout this program. But we'll come back to this, I promise. So this was the program. This only cost $5, which I thought was more than fair. But a couple things I want to get out of the way is talking about the guy that this event was named after, and that is Pete Weber himself. So I had my cards of Pete in an album, and I had 2 of them on a page like so, like this. And Pete started signing there, and I'm like, "Oh, Pete, I'm sorry, I meant for you to sign on the cards." He's like, "Oh, well, I'll sign the other one too, no big deal." Well, I had an extra one of Pete in a different album. I kept them separated, and after he signed that, he signed those 2, and he signed this one. So I got 3 Pete Weber cards signed, but I actually got 4 autographs from him. And on the going back to this, I forgot to mention I had Pete sign the cover right here as well. So he's kind of in Jason's area here. But if I do see Jason, hopefully he can squeeze it in over here or, up here to sign that. But that is Pete Weber's autograph right across the front there as well. So, very nice item to get signed. This was what the Classic was about. Now, I came into this place carrying around, and you'll kind of see them up here, and I'm going to keep them off camera because I can't lay them flat in fear that I'm going to smudge them. But you can see this pin has been signed by people in black. Well, I got this signed. I didn't get this signed. I actually found this at a yard sale many years ago, and I paid like $2 for it. And I thought, well, if I ever see some other people, I'll get them to sign it. Well, that's exactly what I did. So I got Pete to sign this bowling pin right here for me. This is EJ Tackett, and this is Kyle Troop as well. So the 3 of them signed it all right here. Hopefully they didn't write over anybody, but if they did, who cares? Because I don't know. So anything that's signed in blue, I got signed at this tournament. Now this is Hall of Famer Chris Barnes, and next to that is his son Ryan Barnes, who's also bowling right now at Wichita State University. So they were both there. So I said, "Hey Ryan, you mind signing that too, right next to your dad? Because I'm guessing you're going to be turning pro here pretty soon." And he kind of smiled and said, "Yeah, probably." So I only got a few guys to sign this pen because it was pretty limited on space. Actually, after I look at it now, I could have probably got somebody to sign right there. But there's not a lot of space on this thing. Maybe right here I could have got somebody to sign it. But after I got this signed by Pete, I took it out to the car because who wants to carry a bowling pin around with him the whole time? And I took it out to the car and left it there. Well, little did I know, they were actually selling bowling pins at the bowling alley. So I walked past the front desk, and next to the desk there were a stack of bowling pins, and I said, "Oh, how much is a bowling pin?" And they're like, "Oh, it's only $1." And I'm like, $1? So I said, well, for $1, I can't pass that up. So after I got this bowling pin signed, I bought a second bowling pin, and I'm like, well, for $1, how can you go wrong? So I went back, and I had Pete sign a second bowling pin for me that night after the event, and he obliged, no problem. And I said, "I'm sorry that I'm asking you to sign again for me, but these were only $1." He kind of smiled at me. He said, "No problem, man." So I didn't get everybody to sign this. I did get Chris Barnes to sign this one as well. That is actually Tommy Jones. Below that, the Hall of Famer, PBA Hall of Famer, signed it as well. So that's two Hall of Famers right by each other, along with the Pete Weber, who's also a Hall of Famer. And, probably some of these other guys are going to be Hall of Famers. This is Sean Cooley, Australian player. I did not get Kyle Trout to sign this, or Troup to sign this, unfortunately. But I did get EJ Tackett to sign it. And like I said, I just grabbed a couple guys and got them to sign it. This is Matt Russo, who was a PBA Rookie of the Year one year. This is Christopher Prather, who's also, a well-known player on the circuit. So, I did get some of the guys, the bigger guys on there. But as you can see, you can't get 60 guys on one bowling pin because it fills up pretty fast. I actually saw a couple people that were carrying around a couple because they had so many signatures on it, they couldn't get them all on one, and the autograph collector's like, "This is my second one." So I'm just going to put the pins up top here. I can't lay them flat because I don't want to smudge the autographs on them, but I did get these signed and was very happy about that. So we'll move on to another bigger name, and a lot of you are probably going to know this guy, and we'll bring this one back out. And that is Kyle Troup. And if you don't know who Kyle Troup is, he is the son of Guppy Troup, who bowled back in the 1990s. Kind of got a glare there, so we'll just move that to the side. So Guppy was not in attendance. I asked Kyle if he was, and he said no, he's not going to be here. And I said, well, that's too bad, because I actually met your father many, many years ago, and I had in my possession, and I showed this to him, I actually have the program that his father signed for me 20 years ago. So in this program, this is the program, so it's the equivalent of the 2024 program I showed you, but this is the 2004 version. And in this 2004 version, there are actually people that were there in 2004, it's just they were 20 years younger. So Tommy Jones, for example, the Hall of Famer, I had him sign his page. I also was able to get DJ Archer to sign his page in the program. And some of these autographs I've had for 20 years in here. Chris Barnes signed it also at the event. Sorry about the glare there, but Chris Barnes signed his page. Dave I got 20 years ago, so he was not there at this event. Same with Steve Yaros over here, he was not there. Tommy Jones I showed you. And here's the final one I added, and that is Wes Mallett, who was also a Hall of Famer. So he signed his page as well. So not only did I have the 2024 on me, but I also had the 2004 on me. And going back to Kyle, I had approximately 5 cards of Kyle, and he signed all 5 of those cards for me. And I just happen to have these in my collection. I picked them up about a year ago in that 5,000 count mystery box. These were in there, so I pulled them out of that box, and I was able to get Kyle to sign 5 of 5 cards for me as well. So this is kind of the brunt of what I got signed the first day. Okay, now you're probably saying, well, why'd you go back a second day? Well, the reason I went back was I wanted to get this guy signed. See, I left that event and I only had pretty much the guys on the cover to sign this. Well, I was doing my best to get other guys to sign it along with the bowling pin. You know, it was kind of like, hey, can you sign this and the pin? And they're like, yeah, sure. So the first day, I only got a handful of guys to sign this. Well, the second day, I decided to go back, and I want to say I basically double dipped on people because they, you know, especially the guys that were on the cover. But like EJ, for example, he'd already signed the cover, but I asked him to sign his page. The same with Anthony Simonson. He's also on the cover, so I asked him to sign his page. Again, Jason Belmonte was not there. But as we move on, hopefully I'll be able to get Jason to sign this, because on the other half of the page, sorry about the glare there, I'm just going to turn that off. It's giving me more havoc than it is help. But on this side of the page, you can see I got all 3 of the guys to sign here as well. Jacob, Matthew, and Patrick. But you turn the next page over, and there's 4 more. So I was able to get all 4 of these guys to sign for me as well. Chris, Kevin, Dom, and Sam. And again, like I mentioned, I got Sam on the bowling pin as well. So you're like, oh man, that's cool. You got the top 10 guys in the 2023 PBA circuit last year. Well, I didn't get all 10 because I missed Jason, but here are the rest. So as you can see, and again, Andy signed his page right here. He signed not just his picture in there, he signed it 3 times for me actually. And then on this page is starting with number 11 and working their way down. So again, I got a glare there, but as you can see, I got almost everybody on this page except this guy who was not there. So that is page 1. Now I open it up to the next page, and that is Packy again, the guy that I showed you earlier, Patrick. So he signed his picture in there. So he signed it twice. Now finally, you see this page, and it's almost signed by everybody but this one guy, and I managed to miss Sean on my 2 days there. I just couldn't pick him out. I don't know why I couldn't pick him out. I just was in the wrong place at the wrong time to get Sean to sign this. So unfortunately, I missed one guy on this page, but you can see I got everybody else. And the next page, this is even more impressive. I got everybody but this guy, who was not in attendance, so he was not there, and this Michael Martell, who didn't have a picture. So again, like Sean, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time to try to get this signed. He probably would have signed it. It's just I didn't grab him in time. So as you can see, I'm averaging about 1 guy a page that I didn't get. But this was pretty successful with getting everybody else on the PBA Tour. I mean, some of these guys you may know, some of these guys you may not know. And that's kind of how I went going into this. I'm like, I don't know this guy. I mean, like, for example, this is so well represented. I mean, there were bowlers from Australia. You know, there was Canadians. There were people from England. There were people from, I want to say, Finland or Sweden. I mean, just all over the world. These are the best bowlers in the world. Were all in one place. And finally, on the back page, I am glad to say that I got everybody to sign their photo on the back page. So this, to me, like I said, well worth. Oh, and I got a couple people that weren't in the program to sign the back as well. They didn't have pictures in there, so I just flipped it over and I said, well, sign it. You know, I'll take your autograph. You know, just because you're not in there doesn't mean I don't want it. So this was well worth the $5 that I spent, you know, to get this program. Like I said, I'm hoping I can get Jason Belmonte to sign that, you know, if I ever run to him in the future. But very, very happy with getting all these autographs. I mean, I've got close to 50 autographs just alone in this program. So very, very neat. Very cool to pull out the 2004 version and show it to some people. One of the things that I forgot to mention about the 2004, this is not the first time I've ever seen Pete Weber. So I've seen Pete before in the past, and this was after the fact, but Pete had already signed my program. So this was a program that I got signed 20 years ago in blue Sharpie, and still to the day, there's the Pete Weber autograph. So I didn't need this signed by Pete because he already signed it. But very happy to get, you know, Kyle to sign all of his stuff. You know, very cool for Pete to sign all of this stuff for me, including the 2 bowling pins that he signed for me. I really hope you enjoyed the video of the live footage. I really had a good time. This was the first bowling event that I've been to in probably 20 years, with the exception of meeting Ray Bluth this past year. If you haven't had a chance, I'll connect that video down here in the description as well. Check out the video that I shot with Ray Bluth, talking about his career with his interview. But to add these historic bowlers to my collection was very cool to do. Not to mention, this event was televised on Fox Sports 1, I believe it was. So this was an event that I watched on TV. I decided not to go back for the final day because I really didn't need to autograph-wise, and my schedule just didn't work where I could go, you know, to the finals. So very happy to share these with you. Tell me what you think in this video or the other one. You want to see some more bowling stuff, let me know. I might be able to pull some stuff out of my collection and show it off to you. As always, happy collecting.